Kelly, how did you get hurt?
I was living on a horse ranch in Texas while working for a radio station. I was a marketing consultant, advertising rep basically. And the ranch I was living on, the owner trained horses. He would go to Fort Worth and get some unbroken horses, bring them back for training. And being a Tennessee farm girl, I've always loved horses. And a Palomino has always been my favorite. He just happened to be training a Palomino stallion, and I wanted to get to know this horse. So on Saturday, September the 7th of 1997, it was Princess Diana's day of her funeral. And I walked out to the horse barn and got the bridle off of the wall and went to bridle Gus, the horse. He had a halter on, and I led him out to the horse arena, which is basically outside the barn. It's where they train them. And I attempted to bridle the horse. I took the halter off because you can't really lead a horse around and talk to it and get used to it with just a halter on. So I attempted to put the bridle on the horse. Well, the horse, of course, being unbroken, didn't know what this thing was I was putting on his head and trying to put it in his mouth. And then he kind of got upset, I believe, and he swung his head, causing the bridle to come up over his head, and the bit hit me on my head. It did not fracture my skull, but it did cause a subdural hematoma.
Now, the September 7th, at that time you're a marketing consultant.
Yes.
You just happened to be living on a horse farm.
I was living with a coworker. She needed some help with her newborn, getting the baby back and forth to daycare, and she was the early morning sign on air person. I was just an advertising sales rep.
And you're working for a radio station?
Yes, sir.
Now, you've described events right up to the moment of your injury. Do you remember those events?
Yes.
So you have no retrograde amnesia, meaning amnesia
No.
for events?
No.
So it's good to let me finish my questions, and I'll do my best to try to let you finish your answers. You have no recollection, I mean, you have total recollection of events right up to the moment of your injury. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And the events that you remember actually coincide with what physically happened to you?
Yes.
Now, the next point in the story are going to be things that you don't remember. Is that correct?
Vaguely,
So,
yes.
what do you remember going forward from the moment of when the horse swung its head and hit you with a bridle? Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember from that point forward?
I remember that I went, I supposedly had a date the night before, and I went on the date, but the date was a no-show. So I called the friend that introduced me to the expected date, and she said he had gotten called away on something else, and that he would not be there. I said, okay, thank you for letting me know. I remember that very clearly. Then I came on back to the ranch, to the house where I was living, and gave the little dog a bath that night.
Now we're talking about events of the day of September 6, 1997?
Yes,
All right. What do you remember? Do you remember anything going forward from the moment of your injury until months later?
I'm not quite sure what that question is.
Your memory, you're knocked out at the time of the injury?
Yes.
All right. So there's no period of memory whatsoever until a month later or more, is that right?
Yes.
What do you know of what happened to you from the moment you got knocked out?
Just what I've been told.
And what is that?
That I was attempting to ride the horse, was thrown, hit my head on a piece of equipment that was lying in the horse arena.
And you don't believe that to be true?
No, I know that wasn't true.
And that's because you actually have a memory of the events up to the moment of your
Yes,
injury.